The team, of course, wins the tournament, adding Yukimaru to the roster of characters, after convincing her not to kill herself after she loses against them.
Suicide is not funny, and that being her recurring gag is also not funny.
If your mission is really that important, you can't just give up. You gotta do whatever it takes to get it done.
Thank you. Your manly physique and your romantic voice have convinced me, Sam.
Oh god, this relationship just got very awkward and polygamous.
Just don't get too close to me. I don't like girls that much.
He just needs some therapy. Some sexual therapy. I deserve that.
For becoming the champions, the winners are granted an audience with Lord Xenu, and this was all arranged as a trap for Etna, so Xenu could fight and kill Etna. So it's really surprising to him that the group that won it doesn't include Etna, and in fact has Rosalind amongst it, alongside a survivor from the Snow Clan he wiped out.
Why did he exterminate Yukimaru's clan anyways? Is that ever concretely explained? I don't remember there being an explanation as to why he did that, or if it's ever spoken of. And yes, unlike some of the stuff in the Kingdom Hearts review I got wrong, as there was not a straight explanation in that specific game, or explained properly on the related wiki, I actually did check around this time for an answer.
My guess, supposited from later game events, would be because Yukimaru's Snow Clan was made up of full-blooded demons that resisted his methods of subjugation in his initial conquest, as demonic entities on Veldheim were a rarity. A few there pretty content with the previously peaceful status quo. Though, with the knowledge that Zam is replacing Degozaru in her statements, it does make their exchange all the more funny to me, as at one point that new context creates a line that's literally asking Lord Xenu if she could politely take his life.
Your mind and heart have been poisoned by the outside world.
He orders everyone but Rosalind killed, but fortunately Edna's been shadowing the group since we defeated her Prinny assault team, so comes in to steal the kill.
Oh, you fucking camping bitch! It's a legitimate strategy!
Her interference allows the rest of the group to escape, fighting through the inner dungeons of the Colosseum to get to safety, assisted additionally by one of Xenu's two masked servants, who, from dialogue and the strained way such dialogue is spoken, implies they are, in fact, resisting a compulsion placed upon them. Following this, reports are spread that Edna killed Xenu, and did it far too easily for one with his reputation as the god of all overlords.
And as the running gag thus far has been alluding to, yeah, Xenu is not Xenon, the god of all overlords. He's an imposter that's made everyone think he was Xenon, and the real Xenon has put themselves in hiding. But hopefully not in those horrible Disney movies.
So now the group is back to square one on finding Xenon, including Etna, who pops by to tell them the bad news, as her title did not change upon killing him.
Because the fourth wall game logic of the series is actually part of the canon way their worlds work. Seriously, they know about the level stat dynamics and even the rules of the item world as an in-universe institution.
And to see if they also have any information. As they do not, she leaves. But, as Mom is the greatest summoner in the world, and has summoned demonic entities in the past, she suggests attempting a summoning again, with certain conditions that should get around the specifics they previously used to try and summon Xenon. That resulted in them being sent Rosalind. However, it requires materials taken from a demon lord, so we need to chase after Etna and get one of her nails, but they don't tell her what they're going to be using it for, which she would have been on board for if she were left involved. But, as she doesn't know, she gives them a fake, prank toy one instead. And as such...
Ow, 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 ow!
And then karma hits.
In that, because of the choice of materials, while they summon the strongest demon on Veldheim to them, Etna has now been reincarnated. Meaning, she's back to being level 1.
This is all your fault! You're gonna take full responsibility!
You act as if he knocked you up, though Laharl might not enjoy someone sniping from his harem.
This whole event took them through one of the abandoned cities of the world, one more hit by the curse than other regions, and them all noting when the curse strengthens, by the monster features on Hanako and Taro becoming more pronounced. And making things worse, because Etna killed Xenu, everyone thinks she now has the title of God of all Overlords, so now there are tons of rivalrous Overlords that are coming to Veldheim to defeat her, despite her level reset. And she's sticking with the group until she's back to a high enough level, meaning they're now targets for attack. Not made any better that Etna's Prinny army have abandoned her service due to, well, all of them being of a higher level now than Etna is, and they can get better work than what she puts them through.
Freedom at last! Goodbye, dude!
Wow, you must have really been horrible to them.
20-hour workdays with no holidays or compensation, no insurance or retirement fund. They get a one-fish bonus twice a year. See? It's a standard Prinny contract. It builds character.
You are evil.
Not help that they've been organized into a superior fighting force that is being sent against them, the Pretty's enjoying such as they get to attack their long-suffering tormentor, by Fubuki, as he plots his next strike at Roslyn to get to Zenon and make him appear, a tactic everyone finds abhorrent, as it's missing the point in going after someone that barely has a connection to them.
And ironically, it kinda does work.
As Zeno reveals himself as still alive at this point, and descends upon the group, dealing severe blows to Fubuki that will be lethal if they aren't treated. Though it's a Pyrrhic victory, as Zeno is seemingly killed again in the clash. But even with the Holy Saint empowered by the essence of the greatest harvest clerics, they need other materials, which have been gathered by the Geopanel Sage guy at the Shinra Tower.
No, not that Shinra Tower!
Though the facility is a Geopanel stage nightmare for those that are not tactical thinkers, not a problem for me, and you need to get right to the top of the tower, because all of the herbs the man had have been stolen by an interloper, that reveals himself to be Laharl, on Veldheim as he came hunting for Etna after word of the world's events reached him as well, saying his vassal disobeyed her role, which is really just cover for him being worried about her.
Or it would be if Laharl had not reverted to being a total selfish brat.
And he reveals that he devoured all the secret herbs and spices in this Eldritch KFC. Good riddance. But Edna is pissed as she thought the man might have a way to help her recover her levels, drawing us into battle with Laharl.
And this is another fight you're supposed to lose. If you don't, well, Laharl blows up the planet. Rocks fall, everyone dies.
However, on the edge of their defeat, Rosalind tries to reason with him, telling of their mutual quest to seek out Zenon, and Laharl notes there being a seal on Rosalind.
What happens if I break? Who dares awaken me? I am a being of solitude. If you come near, the gates of death will open.
Yeah, I think you can tell where this is going.
Especially as this awoken being kicks Laharl's ass 6 ways to Sunday in retaliation, without any equipment augmenting her abilities or statistics. It's all her.
And the writing is such that this is completely obvious in hindsight. It is something foreshadowed and alluded to repeatedly that it makes total sense that they've been on a wild goose chase, but it completely misses them in a way that is not insulting to anyone's intelligence. Goddamn, guys.
Though even with that surge of power, everyone afterwards just accredits it to being a child of Xenon, when the truth is a bit more significant, and it taking Adele's words and actions to snap her out of that state. Discussion is tabled as they return to find Fubuki gone, going directly after Xenu at his stronghold, warranting us to follow and be confronted by the masked individuals, freshly rebrainwashed by Xenu, as he begins to be repeatedly assaulted by overlords after him, thanks to a news broadcast held by Axel that informed literally everyone of the false god's location. However, from evidence provided throughout the game, Adele muses that Xenu, well assuredly not Xenon at this point, may still be responsible for everything accredited to Xenon. There's just too many things that sync up with this entity being the cause, and just being a usurper to the name, title, and Rosalind's raising, while the real Xenon has otherwise been absent.
I think you're just looking for an excuse to fight.
Anyways, the masked individuals guard the main gate, and only upon them being mortally wounded...
Speaking of, you will need someone that uses magic to kill Shura, the male of the pair. He's immune to any type of physical attack, and there's only one character of the main character team that has even one of those.
Do they reveal that they were forced into servitude after trying to save Veldheim from Xenu's first emergence upon it? That the two were demons that were summoned to the world and were welcomed with open arms here, and from that appreciation chose to become human to live out their lives, choosing to try and use what power they had to protect it, and as a result, left their son behind.
Yeah, the two are Adele's actual parents. Xenu's curse doesn't work on demons, even demons that have chosen to reincarnate as human. Adele never learns this, that he killed his parents, that he wasn't abandoned because of the curse, but because they were forcibly subjugated, and he just freed them from that fate with his own hands.
The foreshadowing for this one, while not as immense for the related one for Rosalind, makes an immense amount of sense as the parents' fragmented memories come and go. But the big key there is Adele's mom's experience in summoning demons, and that they were friends of the family, that friendship forged by being the one that brought them there in the first place.
Tears were literally falling the first time I went through it, in part because the way it is delivered is, it initially comes as a snap, oh moment for the audience that is then confirmed.
And the fact that, well, this is a tragedy that is never acknowledged as such. And for once, it's better because it's not. Because though he didn't know they were his parents, Adele still understood and empathized with them and their plight. Help that they've resisted and helped him several times previously that built a rapport between them, also explaining why they do that. They knew, and they resisted with every fiber of their being from trying to harm him.
So good, people. So good.
But before they die, they tell that Xenu draws his immense power from the curse, that he's nothing more than a parasite, draining the humanity from his victims to have any of his immense strength, and that his power wanes once that humanity in its entirety has been stolen.
So yeah, that common we're the winners against X because humans are awful trope that a lot of series do when they face monsters, that human nature is both bad, but also what allows us to succeed against immense odds. He steals that to become unto a god, as long as one person on the planet he casts this curse on still possesses it, and cannot be killed as long as he can still drain them. God damn, man.
Granted, the game phrases it as him stealing the conscience of humans, which... okay, yeah. Humans become monsters in mind, if not body, if they completely lack a sense of morality, empathy, selfless desire.
I could go on for a bit and cite a bunch of characters from series I reviewed to give examples, if you want, of still human monsters. Hojo, Sakaki, Gurdjieff. Next month we'll be discussing Masato Kusaka.
So I feel there's a bit more stolen than just a conscience, which is reflected in the change to everyone that happens physically as much as spiritually and mentally. But you get the idea, and the irony of Adele. His belief that he is human has protected him and made him strong enough to oppose Xenu after every other Overlord has had their shot at him, weakening him immensely as the last of the humanity is sucked from the planet. Though Rosalind is fearful of the power within her, confronting the man she views as her father, and, yeah, he is the one that gave her everything, but he is not her father. Excel's interference using the monster-controlling flute is used as cover for the rest to reach the final confrontation, meeting up with Fubuki and helping him survive along the way, Yukimaru learning a new ninjutsu skill in the process. Xenu plans to drain the world dry and just leave with Rosalind, as he's done with countless worlds, there being no way of knowing how many netherworlds this entity has created. But Rosalind rejects him, because everything he gave her is not worth a damn in comparison to what she gained while with Adele. And thus, as the final battle comes, she gives in to the power within her.
Yes, I want power. The power to save everyone.
Transforming into the true Overlord, Xenon.
I travel to the edge of oblivion to escape the bloodshed, and yet it seeks me out, even here. I am a being of solitude. My awakening is your death knell.
Yeah. Xenon is canonically the single most powerful being in the Disgaea multiverse. As far as I know, I've only played this in the first one. But when you're the biggest fish in the phrase, always a bigger fish, and your compatriots are power-obsessed maniacs, or individuals that think defeating the greatest demon will bring peace to existence, my understanding would be is you get sick of it and retreat from everything. Try to find a place to escape that fate. And Xenon did by choosing to reincarnate herself without any of that power or knowledge of it. Choosing to become Rosalind and hope Rosalind's fate would differ from her own existence to live a happy life.
And Xenu, as I've called him, found her in that state, recognized her, and wiped her mind and sealed off any connection to her power, because he was previously a rival of hers that was crushed like an ant, leaving her as a prize, his trophy that he, such an insignificant being that he does not even have a name to be remembered, conquered the greatest of overlords in a moment of weakness, and made her new life even less fulfilling than her old existence. The ultimate revenge he could possibly take in this. Stealing her future from her.
So you can totally understand why Xenon, completely subjugating Rosalind, just vaporizes him.
I am a being of solitude. To me, everything is an enemy.
And now we reach the endings of the game. Like last time, there's some divergence depending on how you played through the game.
If you managed to rack up 99 felonies, and during that time you killed your allies at least 99 times, with one of them being Rosalind, congratulations! You are a loser, need to grind up to level 2000 to face the true Xenon in combat, and end up killing both that entity and Rosalind. The trauma of Adele breaking his promise to Rosalind to always protect her from very early in the game, causing Adele to break down, leaving him open to be possessed by the true Xenon soul, and kill everyone else there. In the Japanese audio dub of the Aftermath, the sound of the possessed Adele eating Taro and Hanako alive being heard.
我は孤独なるもの。
Yeah, they thought that too graphic and horrifying to reenact in the English dub of the game. I agree!
With 10 felonies and 50 ally kills, you get the bad ending, where Xenon declares that though Xenu is dead, the battle is not over, because everything is her enemy, and Adele just accepts that, and has to abandon Xenon to her fate of eternal loneliness. The true canonical ending of the game, however, while leading them off from the same point, makes the group refute her statements that she is alone, has nothing, by tearing down each defense against being with them she has. Because she does. She has Tink. She has Adele. Tara's not going to abandon her as her servant. Yukimura's seen how kind she can be by forgiving Fubuki. And Adele...
Why didn't you dodge that?
I promise to protect you. I'm gonna say it again. You are not alone.
嘘じゃない。嘘じゃない。
Shut up! You're an enemy. I can't trust anyone.
Stop talking and trust this.
But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. I'm only human, and I crash and I break down. Your words in my head, knives in my heart. Down, your words in my head, knives in my heart. You build me up and then I fall apart, 'cause I'm only human.
And sadly, that's it. That's the ending of the game.
Oh, sure, there's a post-credit stinger that wraps up some stuff. Yukimaru and Fubuki going to rebuild their home, Hanako deciding to go with Etna to become a demon lord, this segment narrated by her as if it were a letter to Taro, and Adele and Rosalind fighting like a married couple now that they're purportedly dating.
But unfortunately, that's a weakness of the Disgaea games, that the conclusions dead end without properly wrapping up the story before hitting the players with New Game Plus. It taking the next entry to see if there's any subsequent follow-up with the off chance the characters appear. That said, though, I really like Disgaea 2. More than the first game.
They both have their strong points, though. The first one's better with its character pieces and episodic nature that builds on each other, while Cursed Memories has the better serialized story and foreshadowing. You feel the grandeur of the conflict between three realms in the first one, while the second imparts the crisis of Veldheim and the curse placed upon it. Cursed Memories I also feel has a better supporting cast with the parents, and a great twist on a more classical bad guy, over the focus bad being just a tyrannical, bigoted narcissist, that the ruler of a more reserved nature takes responsibility for, that ends up a challenge to the character development of the protagonist. I can understand why Laharl remains the central protagonist and figurehead of the franchise, appearing in all of the entries and even his own second-starring game, due to how his story carried itself out excellently, but I feel this will be my personal favorite in the series, as I'm a sucker for love stories like this, and the similarities it has in some of the other character elements to my favorite game of all time.
Plus, Rosalind gets to claim that she's legitimately the most powerful Overlord in the franchise if she ever goes full power, which is something I am totally behind.
But I do wish I had been able to see more of Adele and Rosalind's growing relationship, as though it does develop nicely over the course of the game, in scenes I mostly skipped, so you can see the progression of romantic infatuation to validate the kiss being what allows Rosalind to accept being with them. There's not enough there to warrant it being a full-blown expression of love. Yukimaru's part of the story is short, definitely the least developed on the main cast. The Etna is only close when you disregard the character carryover, and at least she was seeded through multiple chapters before joining. Definitely a way to do that kind of approach. I'm aware that the tactical and strategy RPG systems are not for everyone, but even before going a bit insane stat-wise, the grind I did not find that difficult, the most annoying parts being getting stuff through the Dark Assembly. If you want to just keep to the main story like I had to do this playthrough though, it's a pretty easy grind for this kind of thing. A second playthrough of each level after beating it the first time, more than enough to keep the advantage. Though you may want to majorly invest in Dark Assembly builds that allow you to purchase more expensive higher statted weapons, if you decide to go that route.
But yeah, this is a game I recommend, which is available on the PSN currently, along with a remake of it, Dark Hero Days, available on the PSP. And this motivates me to not skip a year before getting on to the next game, Absence of Justice, which I have picked up already alongside A Promise Unforgotten. In the meantime, though, I have words to prepare for next week, and the beginnings of our discussion of All My Orphanox. See you then.